Well, we left our homes up in Bristol Bay for the waters of Miami shore. With a hippo at the helm and our severance pay, we fly the pirate flag once more. Pirate radio with the ship and crew, we get wind in our sails and the sky is blue. There's a devil up our nose, so much work to do. Pirate radio. Well, the ship is a wreck, shit stains the deck as Michael hollers fellas make more. And Billy is a worry that he's got the scurvy, cause Chris ate all the limes in store. Pirate radio with the ship and crew, we get wind in our sails and the sky is blue. There's a devil up our nose, so much work to do. Pirate radio. Now Roy is a chum when he's on the rum, he's the glue when we spring a leak. And Stu is a mess, he does less and less, and Greg sounded worse each week. Pirate radio with the ship and crew, we get wind in our sails and the sky is blue. There's a devil up our nose, so much work to do. Pirate radio. Someone yelled ahoy, who the hell's cabin boy? Somebody named Tony, who knows? Once we got the skip, well, a mean jump ship, cause he knew we would sail to gold. Pirate radio with the ship and crew, we get wind in our sails and the sky is blue. There's a devil up our nose, so much work to do for the pirate radio.
Mike Ryan's last act at ESPN was to basically develop an on-air gambling habit that was dangerous and was creeping into every bit of content that we were doing. And Mike Ryan has now come in here today with what he is just upped from a 3-team show parlay to a 4-team show parlay in terms of what's going to happen on the show today that would make him win the bet because he can predict it after that Super Bowl, I'm assuming. And I'm saying right here, I'm telling the audience and everybody, the shipping container, bet the other way on this, on all 4, because I am not going to allow him to win a single one of these parlay bets that he has, because I'm guessing all 4 of them are about me. Stugotz has already come in here and says, look, I don't want to belabor this. How have you been saying it?
I don't want to get too bogged down with this. I don't want to spend too much time on it. I really don't, guys. But since Dan declared that Tom Brady was done, he's won 4 Super Bowls. I mean,
okay, so Mike, just explain, talk around what your 4-team parlay. Wait till I get to some stats, okay, of Tom Brady in the playoffs versus the entire playoff career of Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers and people you considered as good at that job as anyone's ever been.
He has more Super Bowls than the Patriots and the Steelers.
Scott, wait till I give you just his playoff stats since 37 years old.
Oh, yeah. Quick correction. I don't think it was my last act at ESPN. Pretty sure I was in on this act for a while entering ESPN, and now I've just upped it to betting on the show because I got to have action nonstop. Happy Aussie Open, everybody. Yeah. This is just, it's a progressive parlay. So for me to win it, I have to get the first one right. And I feel pretty confident in the first one, and the other ones are, riskier. So every time that I win a bet, you're going to hear a noise. But please, do not change your MO
I'm not. I'm going to do the show exactly as I was going to do it, and we'll see who ends up being right on this. You've got 4 things that are going to happen. Are they all me-related or any of them Stugotz related?
They're show-related. I don't want to skew the show anyway. This is just a fun way to listen to the show for me.
All right, so listen to some of these stats, okay, because it was amazing to watch what it is that happened yesterday, and there are some good statistics from that game. Like Next Gen Stats says that Patrick Mahomes, to avoid sacks and before throws, ran a total of 497 yards, 5 football fields, more than any quarterback in the sport this year. I didn't actually think that Mahomes was that bad. I thought that his team failed him, and I was thinking of that especially when he made a throw parallel to the ground where I don't even know how he was able to throw the ball 30 yards and hit his receiver in the face mask.
Right in the face mask.
And they had 3 of those in the end zone. not to take anything away from what Tampa did, because Tampa overwhelmed Kansas City in every way.
The offensive line was banged up, and those are the things we don't pay attention to as fans. We just don't pay attention to just how banged up the Chiefs.
I think a lot of people paid attention to that one, though. On that, that's the reason the Chiefs would be more than a 3-point favorite in that game, if not for all those offensive line issues.
But we have done plenty in the way of praising Patrick Mahomes. It's okay to say he played poorly. He didn't play well. Regardless of the offensive line, Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl in the biggest of games did not perform that well. Certainly not up to the expectation he has set for himself.
It's the worst game of his career, Stugotz, and
Yes.
people are going back through his past high school and stuff. He's never lost a game like that. It is indisputably a way that he played that none of us have ever seen him play and wouldn't expect to ever see him play. I want you to marvel for a moment that Patrick Mahomes, young buck thoroughbred, comes into the game with a busted-up toe and had to leave for a half because of some brain stuff with a concussion. Tom Brady, though, no nicks, no nothing, no ankles, no nothing. 43 years old, never didn't get hit at all. That's the game. That game yesterday is the game where he received fewer pressures than any game this season.
Yeah, he was sacked once. That's it. But for the most part, they did not get any pressure on him. You've always said, and you've said it for a long time, that getting to the quarterback with 4 is the strong. Like, if you could do that, your team's going to be really good.
It's the thing that I want. I didn't say it, though.
It's a show bet.
Okay.
All right.
Getting to the quarter. Is that all right? Getting already.
You repeated it. What's the matter with you?
Pressure with 4.
I wasn't going to say it.
That's the first bit of my progressive parlay. We are in play for a 4-teamer.
We are so going to nail this parlay, man. I'm excited.
So here, did you have an end to that point, or you just wanted to fail at the parlay? And was there a finishing point?
No,
to
the
that?
Bucs were able to do that. They were able to do that to Patrick Mahomes in a way I've never seen a team do that. The reason Tom Brady chose that team because he saw all the talent on the offensive side and defensive side of the football.
Mike is gloating. He is feeling really good about it.
3 minutes. That was the first one that I locked in.
You had me doing it,
minutes.
though. I am not gonna do this. I will not lose to you on this bet.
It's a show bet.
So here are some stats, because the whole thing's crazy, Stugots. Like, all of it is crazy. Because 7 titles. Put this on the poll, please, Guillermo, at Batard Show. More impressive Tom Brady feat. Winning 7 titles or getting Antonio Brown a job and $1 million bonus.
I just told Mike to tell me what he needs, if he can cut me in.
I heard you guys talking, and he was
corrupt.
he was trying to cheat. He distracted me. People have no idea how many times I step in shit around here because Stugotz is just telling you jokes that aren't even meant for air.
That's what an action junkie is. I'm just doing this for S's and G's, and he's out here like, what, can I get in
Stugotz
on
was
this?
absolutely
Put it in my
trying
ear, man.
to cheat during the break. During the break from him talking. So here is a couple, Stugotz, of Tom Brady facts that are fairly amazing. Give me the stat of the day, Mike. Give me the short one. Give me the short stat of the day music, because I got a bunch of them today.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day.
So this is from Michael David Smith. Tom Brady Super Bowl ring 7. Hall of Fame quarterbacks Dan Fouts, plus Jim Kelly, plus Dan Marino, plus Brett Favre, plus Fran Tarkington, plus Warren Moon, plus Joe Namath, plus Kurt Warner, plus Steve Young. Super Bowl rings 4. Now, that's not entirely right, because Steve Young was a backup and won a couple as Joe Montana's backup. But still, point stands. That's just flabbergasting. But so's this. I'm going to give you these stats, and as I'm reading them, I simply can't believe it. I am getting buried by people, Stugots, because I have been one of the few to dare to question whether or not Tom Brady would age, which seemed like a reason, like it didn't feel like a very controversial take. I don't think I've been more surprised by being wrong about anything. I ended up in a Speedo because LeBron didn't want to post up J.J. Barea. So that's as wrong as I've ever felt, where I was just certain something was going to happen, because I would never bet being in a Speedo publicly unless I was just convinced that something wasn't going to happen. But I just can't believe that we find ourselves in a position where Tom Brady is sitting here winning 7 championships, and we don't have any precedent for it. And I don't know yesterday who is the person, Stugots, who hurt the most watching that. Was it Belichick? Was it Peyton Manning standing in an end zone? Peyton Manning with all of the skills. Peyton Manning, 5 years. 5 years. He's already in the Hall of Fame, while Tom Brady is throwing 3 first-half touchdown passes. And Peyton Manning, you remember what he looked like when he won his 2nd championship. He couldn't move. 9 touchdowns, 17 interceptions.
I would say that Peyton Manning, he's certainly in the discussion because he had the one thing over Brady. I won a Super Bowl with 2 organizations, and now Brady's done that.
First guy ever to win the home Super Bowl. I don't know. How does Ryan Leaf feel watching that? He put up a photo of himself at the Heisman ceremony with Hall of Famers Charles Woodson, Randy Moss, and Peyton Manning, and he titled it himself, 3 Hall of Famers and some guy. He had to feel pretty bad watching all of that.
I think Jameis Winston's probably in that conversation, is he not? I mean,
Mike, would you nominate somebody there? Would you nominate somebody who felt worst watching that? Do you think Belichick turns the television off, or does he watch it all the way through?
I have zero insight into how Bill Belichick watches other games that are not his. I wouldn't be surprised if Bill Belichick didn't even watch it at all. Robert Kraft had to be an interesting person to watch that game with, because the reports were he was sort of caught in the middle of that. So I think Robert Kraft might have had an interesting viewing experience.
Aren't you left to question Belichick? I mean, seriously, because he want no. Listen, just hear me out for a second, okay? Just hear me out for a second. If you're a Patriot fan, your confidence is not waning at all in Bill Belichick, because he wanted to get rid of Tom Brady. At the same time, Dan wanted to get rid of Tom Brady. And all Tom Brady has done since then is won 4 Super Bowls.
What are you talking about?
He did. He wanted Jimmy Garoppolo.
I mean, come on.
I mean, he did. I remember we had Michael Holley on. We were talking about it. I mean, you got to question Belichick. In fact, I don't think Belichick belongs in the Hall of Fame. How about that?
For the love of God.
Seriously.
Can I send him to a penalty box? Can I send him to the therapy couch? Can I do any of the stuff that we used to do to get him out of here?
I mean, you can do, but it would be totally pointless as we're not a visual medium right now.
You can send me somewhere if you want.
If you'd like, but we're just going to pretend like he's walking out of somewhere.
But what's the new thing that we can do to recreate? Like, he deserves to be tased or something.
For what?
Come on, Stugots. Belichick was pretty good at what he was doing. No.
Yeah, but Tom Brady won that forever.
He did. He won everything. I mean, he won everything last night. That's it. I mean, he's the greatest athlete in the history of sports, and I'm including Michael Jordan. How about that?
Billy, what do you got here?
Well, I mean, how good was Belichick? Do we know? I mean, we don't know. What has he done without Brady?
Thank you.
We don't know.
Exactly.
And this Mahomes, by the way, not to bring him into it, but geez, who else is tired of him, huh?
What happened?
I mean, what happened? Everything this guy does. The guy falls and throws, well, I've never seen someone throw better incompletions than Patrick Mahomes. How about complete a pass, all right? How about, he hit so many receivers in the head. How about hit him in the hands? How about hit him in the end zone? Enough bouncing passes off people's face masks, falling down. How about stay on your feet? How about throw the ball on your feet? Don't trip and fall. Everything he does, it's like, did you see how graceful he was when he was falling and he didn't complete a pass? And everyone looks like that when they're falling and they throw a ball. Nothing happened as that play. Did you see Matt Stafford earlier this year? A no-look touchdown pass that he wasn't even looking, like a laser, hit someone in the back of the end zone. If that was Patrick Mahomes, the world would have exploded, just so you know.
Yep.
Thank you. Put it on the poll. Put it on the poll, Guillermo, please, at Batard Show. Hold on. Just back off for a second. I can't see you guys because the internet went down.
Okay. We have no internet.
If Stafford had thrown, if Mahomes had thrown that pass Stafford through, would the world explode? Question mark.
We do this thing with Mahomes where it's never his fault. It's the offensive line. It's Eric Fisher's not there. It's the receivers didn't have a good game. He hit him in the face mask. It's never Mahomes' fault. I mean,
he wasn't.
Listen, plenty of quarterbacks have won one. Hey, Joe Flacco. I mean, that's who he is.
Oh, for the love of God.
Brad Johnson.
Okay.
Wow.
Do it again. Win another. I mean, you had a chance there head-to-head with Brady.
As ridiculous as Stugotz sounds, imagine if 6 minutes in the last Super Bowl before this one, the last 6 minutes had gone differently, because there would be so much of that. Stugotz wouldn't sound as ridiculous or as alone on that. It would be a cacophony of people. Can you imagine if the third and long, because one of the amazing things yesterday was Patrick Mahomes saying flatly they just took away the deep stuff. I didn't think that was an option against Kansas City. I didn't think you could take away the deep stuff. So they take away the deep stuff, and Tampa, Tyreek Hill he was on pace for 800 yards in the first time that he played Tampa after the first quarter. I think it's fair, some of what it is you guys are saying about he played statistically poorly.
Yes.
And if those 6 minutes at the end of last year, when Tyreek Hill completed some just crazy pass that wasn't available to them yesterday on third and long.
They were down 10 in the fourth quarter last year.
There would be so many people right now saying Patrick Mahomes is just a regular season quarterback. So many. It would be the more popular opinion than what it is that Billy's objecting to now, which is all of us awed by the athleticism and by everything he does. I do want you to marvel again, though, at the idea that Mahomes comes into that game, needs toe surgery, head busted up, and Tom Brady, again, at 43 bleeping years old, the oldest player to ever play in a Super Bowl.
That's why when you talk about greatest of all time, and I'm with you, like the gold standard is this person is the Michael Jordan of blank. Maybe you have to revisit it because he's got one more. He did it with the second team, and he took on the next greatest of all time in his prime. And we're pointing to turf toe. No,
a toe.
This
toe.
guy.
I mean,
He'd
that's
be
why you
in
have
his
10
40s.
of them, Dan. A toe. Get out of here. It's football. Everybody's hurt. All right, get out there and play. Do you want to be one of the greatest of all times, or do you want to complain about your toe? All right, Patrick Mahomes, enough of this already. One championship in all these. He's Aaron Rodgers. That's who he is, Aaron Rodgers.
Am I the only one that thought Mahomes played well? I mean, he had no time. He was pressured more than any quarterback in NFL history. And you were talking about those incomplete passes. The two most impressive plays were two incomplete passes by Patrick Mahomes, where he's scrambling around and chucking a ball to the corner where this guy, Pringle, almost makes a one-handed catch. The next play is that, submarine pass that he throws 30 yards on a dart, hits the guy in the face mask. I mean, you're saying things, Billy, like, oh, don't hit him in the face. He had multiple passes that hit guys in the face mask, and they just dropped it.
Complete the passes.
I mean,
it's just one of those things. Oh, what do I do to be different? Oh, let me look at the quarterback that didn't have statistically a great game and just tell you how great that quarterback was. Please. You know who was great yesterday? Tom Brady. He won. That's it.
Yep, and that begs the question, Dan, is Father Time still undefeated? I'm not so certain.
It doesn't beg that question. That is not the question that is being begged.
Tom Brady
there.
beat it.
He did.
Beat it.
Billy, can you say
4
that?
times?
All right, put it on the poll, Guillermo. There it is. Put it on the poll. Is Father Time today actually undefeated?
Stugots here. Have you ever wanted to give yourself better odds on winning a bet? Well, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you a chance to do just that. All players who place a bet on Sunday night's basketball game between L.A. and Denver will have a hand in lowering the over-under on the game. That's right. For every 1,000 players who bet the over on Sunday night's game, the over-under will drop by 1 point. How about that? Every bettor who hammers the over in Sunday's Denver versus Los Angeles game helps to lower the game's over-under. The best part is that even as the line lowers, the odds remain at even money. That's right. You could double your money by hammering the over. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DAN when you sign up to hammer the over on Sunday night's basketball game when L.A. takes on Denver. Who doesn't love to hammer the over? For every 1,000 people that bet the over in Sunday's game, the line will decrease by 1 point. Yes, this is your chance to improve the odds of the over hitting. So tell your friends and family this is a team effort. Hammer the over and improve your odds of doubling your money. That's promo code Dan for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, Michigan, or Virginia only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in Indiana, 1-800-9-WITH-IT, or in Virginia, call 888-532-3500.
Guillermo, put this on the poll, please, at Batard Show. Who feels worse today, the Kansas City Chiefs or the reporter who asked Byron Leftwich a question thinking he was Todd Bowles?
No one feels worse than that guy today.
Roy is just shaking his head no. Roy, did you not know that happened? Because those two people, those two human beings, look nothing alike. And very unfortunate for that reporter that those two human beings happen to be black, because then all of a sudden people go to the place, hey, all black people don't look alike. But those two black people don't look anything alike. Like, I don't know what that football writer was doing. And was it Greg Cody?
Going into the game, what was your number one goal on the defensive side to shut Mahomes down, shut that high-powered offensive down? What was your guys' number one goal going into that game?
To shut Pat Mahomes down? I think you got the wrong guy. I had nothing to do with that. That was Todd.
That laugh.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
That reporter laugh.
Holy shit.
Right? I had a similar response of holy shit when Mike Ryan, who I believe has been called out by Roland Martin, said that the Weeknd's halftime performance rivaled Prince's. Now, before we go down this path and anything that rivals Prince, you're not going to win that argument. It doesn't even matter what it is. There's just no way to ever win the argument. Never mind that he's dead in terms of a creator and an original. There are no winning posthumous arguments against Prince on somebody rivaling him anywhere. But did you guys read? I did think it was a cool halftime show. Did you guys read the details on the Weeknd's jacket, on how it is? The Weeknd's jacket took 4 embroiderers.
You got it.
Took them, thank you, Stugots.
Sure.
250 hours to sew thousands of crystals into a jacket that I really do feel I could have gotten at like a Halloween store.
I don't believe that story.
That has to
be. Waste of money. Just a
Waste of time also, Jesus.
I feel like you could pick that
Yeah,
jacket
the halftime show was a waste of time.
Poor people.
You could pick that jacket out at Forever 21. You're right about the Roland Martin. I got like aggregated. I'm in some sort of like Prince hive. Even though within the tweet I established that Prince is the gold standard. I'm just merely saying that that's one of the better halftime shows I had ever experienced, which I stand by that. If you don't like The Weeknd, you hate the audio, it's a Super Bowl halftime show. The audio always sucks ass during a Super Bowl halftime show. Do something different. Do something that I've never seen before. Stimulate me visually. Do something on the grandest stage. And I thought The Weeknd did that. And dude's got hits.
His confidence is extraordinary.
Especially for someone that can't dance.
To stand in the middle of that and not be either, right? Not be a matinee idol. Like, he is not. This is not to say that he is not attractive, but he's not from the Bruno Mars camp of making people swoon.
Yeah, he's not a heartthrob.
Wait, are you guys with Mike? Did you guys like the halftime show? I didn't enjoy it that much, but did you guys like it?
I mean, he's got hits. I wasn't blown away by the performance. Like, early on in it, he didn't have a ton of, I've never seen him perform, so I didn't know if he danced more, but I wasn't blown away by the energy of the performance. Once he got onto the football field, there was more energy, but what?
I never looked so forward to the weekend being over. How about that?
Yeah. A lot of people on my timeline clamoring for Bruce Springsteen.
Didn't he have a voiceover on something? Didn't he stick
a Jeep commercial?
Didn't he stick his? I thought Springsteen didn't do that stuff. I thought he's the American heartland. He's born in the USA. He doesn't sell his soul. What's going on with late game Springsteen, where he wants to be on Broadway and do Buick commercials.
Well, I told
Everyone
you.
has a price. Cheap.
Exactly. I told you when I went to see. We don't know Springsteen. Springsteen mocks himself. He's like, yeah, everyone thinks I spent my entire life in these factories working with blue-collar workers. I've never stepped into one.
But was I wrong? Was I wrong about the assessment? I was always of the opinion that Bruce Springsteen sort of guarded through his 40s and 50s and 60s even the boss status of I'm a guy who you can't touch. I'm a guy who doesn't do voiceovers for Super Bowl commercials. Incidentally, speaking of Super Bowl commercials, can you tell me what you think the marketing meeting looked like where the people at Oat Milk said, I know what we're going to do. We're going to get our CEO. We're going to put him in a field. We're going to have him sing a song that is No Cow Wow. No Cow Wow. And
I enjoyed it.
What was that?
It was better than The Weeknd.
We've established that you don't like The Weeknd.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy that Weeknd, I've seen him at different times where I've enjoyed him a bit more. I don't know. It was a weird Super Bowl.
Weekend's not for everybody, I guess.
Yeah.
I would love, just because Stugotz is the professional critic, I would just love, I want you guys to now imagine, okay, because Stugotz is totally comfortable. Yeah, talentless. Don't want to watch it. Not interested. Was glad the weekend was over. I just want you to imagine everything being the same, and the only thing we're changing about that halftime performance is instead of The Weeknd, it's Stugotz dressed exactly the same way, doing the thing that The Weeknd is doing. I want you to imagine that. Because that was hard. What
I know. I'm not saying
but
that it wasn't hard.
You don't have to like it. You are absolutely entitled to not like it.
Thank you. That's very nice of you.
I was marveling, though. I'm just marveling at the confidence of anybody who can do that. That is very pressurized, and I don't know where that man's confidence comes from. Is it because he has a nice singing voice?
Cocaine. It's cocaine.
Was the
a lot of Pepsi halftime jokes brought to you by Coke.
Were all of the people who were dressed in the mask type things making fun of him or sending off the message of a DUI arrest and the press conference given where he was wearing bandages around his head?
He tries to make a societal point about plastic surgery and the visual part of this latest album about like what is Hollywood beauty, but really all the songs are about cocaine.
Okay. And how did you feel about getting caught in the Prince hive?
That's not fun, especially when people misunderstand. There's like a real rush from people that don't even really remember Prince to defend his honor. I said Prince is awesome in that tweet, and people are reading that as if it's an insult to Prince to just compare The Weeknd's performance to one of the best gold standard performances we've ever seen. It was
okay, Mike.
And Roland Martin, way to continue the stigma of like punishing producers. I hate that shit.
All right. Well,
hey Dan, lock this guy up. What are you talking about? I'm an executive producer. I pull strings too, Roland Martin.
That was all well put. I would like it all gathered together here. I want you to timestamp the sounds that you made in there and arguing your point and spitting just, jowly jibber jabber at Roland Martin.
You want to tie it all together?
I deleted so many responses to Roland Martin. If you can go through my drafts, there's a gif of just a guy going, no one asked. But I was like, I don't want to. I'm already sucked in.
So you got stuck. So hold on. You got stuck in a Prince hive and a Roland Martin hive. Both of them.
No, it's just every avatar is just yelling at me. I'm not insulting Prince. I love Prince.
But here's the thing. This is what I believe the internet has basically become. Find the guy who said the thing and get Roland Martin to aggregate it so everyone can chase him down, even if the guy who said the thing didn't actually say the thing. This is where I am with Tom Brady. This is where I live with Tom Brady.
You would have thought I said something about Taylor Swift or something. I did not know Prince still had this hive.
You dug your own grave with Brady, man.
Yeah. I so did. Let me get to these stats.
Told you not to do it.
You did tell me. You warned me many times. Another Stugotz victory continues to rack up W's at every turn. Because I had to burst out laughing at the way that particular game went. I mean, he just mowed through on the road. He mowed through Breeze and Rodgers on the road, and then beats Mahomes.
Don't leave out Heineke. I mean,
you know what I thought was going to be the biggest test of Tom Brady as that game played out? There's a moment where I think his nickname is the Red Snapper, which is a great nickname for a center. He shoots the ball over Tom Brady's head. Now, we've seen a couple times in this postseason and recently with quarterbacks that are younger than Tom Brady. Ben Roethlisberger struggling to get a bouncing ball. Phillip Rivers, I mean, can't barely move. So there's this ball that goes over his head, and I'm like, this is where I'm going to see the aging process. And like a gazelle,
calmly,
he just calmly gets in there, scoops the ball in. I'm like, this guy's going to play for another 10 years.
Yes, I mean, he is older than Adam Vinatieri was when he was playing in those Super Bowls.
This is crazy.
Oh, there were so many great Tom Brady stats. He's presently older than Ed Asner was in season 1 of the Mary Tyler Moore
Season 2 and 3 as well. Season 2 and 3 as well. You will see a picture. This is something that is done all the time with Wilford Brimley, but you will see a picture of him on the internet at the same age as Tom Brady, and he does not look anything like Tom Brady. It is fairly flabbergasting that you look at Tom Brady, and he looks younger than he did 10 years ago, and he looks healthier than he did 10 years ago. It's a bit flabbergasting. Now, I know part of that is hair help that he has gotten. I don't know whether he is Botox the entirety of his being or not.
It's also that Dr. Guerrero, right? I mean.
And even in that Super HD, man, I would look terrible in that. Those sideline. Why can't we get that cool HD and those cool angles? Is that super expensive for CBS to do? Why can't that be the standard? I feel like they only bust that out for the big games.
Well, I think the reason they could do it, they were saying, is because the lack of fans in attendance at the stadium is why you're getting such great camera angles. They could put cameras in places they never were able to do so before. I don't need to be that close. It's a little uncomfortable. I don't know how, I mean.
I get really upset when a network that doesn't put any of the games in 4K, especially the Super Bowl, decides occasionally we're going to go to the 8K camera.
Okay, this is something from yesterday that I wanted to talk about here. How CBS is it to just drill us in the face with them going, hey, we're not Les Moonves' plastic furniture network anymore. We're going to get young with the times. You know how we're going to do it? We're going to bring you Queen Latifah as the Equalizer.
Oh, I saw that.
Was it good?
It was amazing to see how much time that commercial got. And I was, while watching it, I'm like, wow, CBS and a bunch of their executives think all of this is a good idea. That's how they're going to get in the streaming game with Queen Latifah as the Equalizer in every damn commercial during the Super Bowl.
I gave it a shot. I had several teachers in high school that were 50-year-old women, and it just looks like a teacher is running after some like wayward kids, and this is supposed to be an action show. It's just, and I know the Equalizer is built around a 50-year-old man, but it looks like Phillip Rivers is trying to track down a ball that's bouncing, and I'm like, I'm really suspending a lot of disbelief here.
No, but
at 50, you usually get a desk job.
You're right about this, but once Liam Neeson got into the game, all bets are off, man.
Yeah.
Like, that guy got into the action game in his 50s and is still making Taken movies, taking on a train, taking on a plane, taking in the desert.
Taken fighting against wolves.
Taken in the ice. How many Taken versions has Liam Neeson done since Taken? It's been 11 years.
Every movie he's made since Taken has been some version of Taken. I'll look it up right now.
I was watching and I was like, not for me. Cool. All right. Gave it a shot. High production value. And then I had the fleeting thought as I turned it off, well, who is it made for?
That's an excellent question. I just think it's CBS saying, you know what? I got it. We'll go young and urban.
With a 50-year-old Queen Latifah.
That's correct. I believe
that's how CBS skews young.
Yes, that's what I am saying. What I am saying is CBS looked up and said, guys, I've got the idea. No more Murder, She Wrote. No more Magnum P.I. Tom Selleck. We're going to still be doing Hawaii Five-0. No, we're going to get into the game right now. Watch what we do after this summer and after Kaepernick, after Me Too, in the name of equality, a show that can just teach the people of America as television takes over film at the Golden Globes in terms of producing quality content, Queen Latifah, is going to be, in a time of equality, the equalizer.
Yeah, just a quick reminder, we're still free agents, so maybe, CBS, good network, good sports network, Romo, what a game, huh? Him and Nance, great call yesterday.
I will tell you, Billy's right. I mean, a good friend of mine is the president of CBS Sports. I mean, just keep your options open. That's all we're saying.
I was watching part of The Equalizer, Roy, and I know you're a big Bob Odenkirk fan, and there was a trailer for a movie in which he's an action star, and I was just sitting like,
oh, I can't wait for that movie. That is going to be so much fun.
I guess you're the audience. I'm like, I'm not asking for Queen Latifah and Bob Odenkirk to be my action stars. Like, give me Wesley Snipes and Sly Stallone, and I'm good.
We have talked before about Bad Boys was going to be John Lovitz, and was it Dana Carvey?
Yeah, and that's what I'm watching right now on like several action movies. Bob Odenkirk as an action star is your tentpole franchise. I'm not asking for any of these.
After Taken, Liam did the A-Team. He did The Gray. He did Unknown, and then he did Taken 2. And then he skipped a couple. Did a couple
Billy, what
movies,
are you laughing about?
And then did
Billy?
Taken 3.
Billy, what are you laughing about?
Say Liam?
He did call him Liam, yes.
Liam, yes, I did.
Liam. Yes, he's been slurring his words and complaining that it's not Super Bowl Saturday.
Yeah. It should be Super Bowl Saturday, should it not? I mean, listen to us right now.
Mike, doesn't The Office, don't put us in there, didn't The Office or Parks and Rec has like one or, they've got two, right? Parks and Rec 2 has two
action stars.
Action stars.
Yeah, Chris Pratt turning him. If you saw Chris Pratt early on, and I told you, hey, this is going to be one of the more in-demand action stars, it would have been a bit of an
wasn't
upset.
Paul Rudd Ant-Man?
Yeah, and he got like really in shape for it.
Not even Scorsese could fix that for De Niro in The Irishman.
Say, when De Niro, there's outside of Tom Brady, there really isn't a cover-up for age. You got to use a double.
I'm got to get to these stats, all right? I'm going to do it next, guys. I got to get to these stats, what Brady has done since 37, okay? So since I said he was done,
yeah,
I just need to get to these stats.
That's on you. Again, I said I don't want to get too bogged down on this, but he's won 4 Super Bowls since you said he was done.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugots podcast.
Some people just see things, Stugots beyond the X's and O's.
They do. Yep, they see when something's just a little bit off, right? The greats do. The great ones do.
Let me give you an example, all right?
Please.
Little Debbie Swiss rolls, the Swiss cakes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
You would say delicious, right?
Yeah.
Would you say delicious? Maybe you wouldn't say delicious, but most people would say delicious. And you try it and you're like, this tasted the same forever, right? No. I'd say roughly 6 to 8 years ago, something changed on the taste of the Little Debbie Swiss roll cake. And I don't know if it was the chocolate they were using or exactly what it was. It's not Yodels. Yodels, you look at Yodels and you look at Swiss cakes and you think Yodels, Swiss cakes, same thing. No, totally different animals. And you know that. Anyone who eats them knows Yodels and Swiss cakes are totally different things, right?
Yes.
Well, Little Debbie Swiss cakes, at some point they changed it. And there was just something off about the taste. And I said, I just can't do it anymore. I can't do it. It used to be my favorite thing. I would take it with me every day for lunch. And I just have Swiss cakes. Would you do the thing where you would try to kind of peel off the chocolate roll around the outside, and then just had almost like a fuzzy. It was almost like a velour type chocolate feel to it, or like a, not felt, but it was like a different texture. It wasn't a smooth roll once you take off the smooth layer, and then sometimes you could eat that, and then you'd have like the rougher chocolate underneath. But something happened, just a little off, and I was like, I can't do the Swiss cakes anymore. And that's what was going on with the Chiefs this year, Stugots, and we saw it.
Yep.
We saw it.
We did. We saw it early, and we tried to tell Dan. He just didn't want to listen.
Is he right about what he's saying, though? You agree with him on the specifics of the snack he's talking about there? What changed there? Have you gotten to the bottom? Is this a fact that you're saying that everyone would agree with, or is it just one of these Billy observations?
Well, it was a fact to me 6 to 8 years ago. I'll look into this. I'll see if something changed in the recipe 6 to 8 years ago. But I'm telling you, something changed just slightly in terms of the taste. And I was like, this is not the snack that I love. Okay. Maybe it got healthier. Maybe that's what happened. Sometimes, Dan, products get healthier. And at what cost, right? What is our health worth? I guess it all depends on each individual person, right? But what's the cost of something that you love and someone decided, you know what? this would be better for them in the long run if I just change like this high fructose to low fructose. Where's the line in fructose, by the way?
You are asking a ton of questions, and I would just say that generally speaking, it's a direct proportion between how healthy something is and how much taste it doesn't have, right? I would guess that this is what vegan lifestyles and everyone else would tell you, that they do the best they can if they're eating vegan. But if you're eating gluten-free, there's very little that's going to taste as good as something that has gluten. Isn't that what you're... Aren't you just basically dismissing all of health, wellness when it comes to eating? Because Tom Brady would have you believe, Billy, that the reason he's able to age differently than all these other quarterbacks is because he takes care of his body differently than all of these quarterbacks. And he's the guy who famously won't have a strawberry. And like we've talked about, Bomani says of Trevor Price, the idea that when you tackle Ben Roethlisberger, you feel like you're tackling glass. And when you tackle Tom Brady, it feels like he's absorbing you, that it's like water because his body is so mechanically correct.
Here's the thing. That's nice and well for Tom Brady, but I'm no Tom Brady, okay? So just give me my Swiss cakes the way that I like them, because nothing that I do is ever going to get me to the level of Tom Brady, whether I eat horribly or whether I eat non-gluten this and vegan that and start talking to a Dr. Guerrero. I'm never going to be there, and I know that, and I've accepted that, all right? I'm just going to be me, and that's all that I can be. So just give me my Swiss cakes with the original recipe that I know and love.
I think that your theory is flawed, though. Once you're in the Swiss cake section of eating, is it healthy that you're going for? Why would they make anything like that healthy? Is there a healthy alternative? Am I ignorant here as to what it is? Because every snack, I don't feel like you eat correctly at all. What do you mean? I feel like...
put it in my mouth, I chew, I swallow. That's how you eat. How else are you supposed to do it? Am I missing something?
But you don't think of organic food or anything, right? You just eat. You're not thinking of what you should be eating.
I mean, I eat applesauce. That comes from apple. That comes from a tree. Organic. Boom. Right?
I mean, I don't want to live in a world where I'm thinking about what it is I'm putting in my mouth and my stomach. You give that much thought to it, Dan? I guess you do. I've been around you for 20. You absolutely do.
Nobody would have any proof of that from looking at me. It's the sad, eternal conundrum that is my general body.
The great lengths you go to.
But basically, what I eat doesn't make me any kind of hurting when it comes to gas or indigestion or any of that stuff. We're getting in way too deep here. But to be healthy or to eat healthy, you're generally speaking, you are going to dilute some taste. You're going to make some sacrifices on how things taste.
When's the last time you ripped a big fart? Seriously. I don't want to live in a world where I can't fart and fart big. I mean, I don't.
All right, put it on the poll, Guillermo. Do you want to live in a world where you can't fart and fart big? Yes or no at Batard Show.
I imagine with all the fruit and vegetables you eat that your poop is kind of soupy.
Okay, we are going to do this. My diet is blood allergy related, and so I basically only eat things or ingredients that make sure that none of that stuff goes haywire. And if it does go haywire, it's because I've had an ingredient that is that runs contrary to some of my food allergies. This is way too... Why are we doing this?
What's the worst thing that can happen if you don't do that, honestly? Like, what are you actually buying yourself? Like a month, maybe,
it's just the daily... At my age, it's the daily not having pain, not having inconvenience, not having energy problems. It's why I can be up so much. It's why I don't need that much sleep, because I'm eating things that specifically keep my energy level up.
See, but that's where me and Tom Brady and Stugots are the same, right? Because we go through the pain that this food causes us when we digest it and our body can't break it down or whatever, right? But at the end, the glory's worth it. Same with Tom Brady. He goes through the grind of the football season, all the bumps and bruises and hits, and then he wins the Super Bowl, right? So we're kind of the opposite. We get the glory on the front end, but we know that that's what comes with it. It's going to come with some of the pain and the pressure and the bumps and bruises along the way, but we do it. We do it for the glory.
Right. Super Bowl. That's what the big fart is for me and Billy, Dan. I mean, you need to fart.
Okay. There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Stugotz is a 47-year-old man who is a professional broadcaster, and what he has chosen to do with the freedom afforded to him by this platform is to shout, "You need to fart at me," and then laugh at his own joke for 10 seconds.
I showed some restraint because when Chris was talking about your bathroom habits, I didn't go with the soup in bowl.
Yeah,
joke,
that was
what I mean?
unnecessary. We've already spent 5 minutes here that I don't understand. I don't think the audience is going to enjoy very much. So let's move on to other subjects. Maybe they do, though, because I do feel like more and more Stugots is being rewarded for you need to fart and fart big and then laughing at his own joke. And that's how the last 15 years of his career are going to play out. That's
great.
what's going to end up with Newsday profiles and everything else. You need to fart and fart big and then just over-laugh into the microphone. Boom. Give me several $1 million.
Stugots here. Have you ever wanted to give yourself better odds on winning a bet? Well, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you a chance to do just that. All players who place a bet on Sunday night's basketball game between L.A. and Denver will have a hand in lowering the over-under on the game. That's right. For every 1,000 players who bet the over on Sunday night's game, the over-under will drop by 1 point. How about that? Every bettor who hammers the over in Sunday's Denver versus Los Angeles game helps to lower the game's over-under. The best part is that even as the line lowers, the odds remain at even money. That's right. You could double your money by hammering the over. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DAN when you sign up to hammer the over on Sunday night's basketball game when L.A. takes on Denver. Who doesn't love to hammer the over? For every 1,000 people that bet the over in Sunday's game, the line will decrease by 1 point. Yes, this is your chance to improve the odds of the over hitting, so tell your friends and family this is a team effort. Hammer the over and improve your odds of doubling your money. That's promo code DAN for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, Michigan, or Virginia only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in Indiana, 1-800-9-WITH-IT, or in Virginia, call 888-532-3500. Stugots here. Have you ever wanted to give yourself better odds on winning a bet? Well, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you a chance to do just that. All players who place a bet on Sunday night's basketball game between L.A. and Denver will have a hand in lowering the over-under on the game. That's right. For every 1,000 players who bet the over on Sunday night's game, the over-under will drop by 1 point. How about that? Every bettor who hammers the over in Sunday's Denver versus Los Angeles game helps to lower the game's over-under. The best part is that even as the line lowers, the odds remain at even money. That's right. You could double your money by hammering the over. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DAN when you sign up to hammer the over on Sunday night's basketball game when L.A. takes on Denver. Who doesn't love to hammer the over? For every 1,000 people that bet the over in Sunday's game, the line will decrease by 1 point. Yes, this is your chance to improve the odds of the over hitting, so tell your friends and family this is a team effort. Hammer the over and improve your odds of doubling your money. That's promo code DAN for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, Michigan, or Virginia only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in Indiana, 1-800-9-WITH-IT, or in Virginia, call 888-532-3500.
So I wanted to talk about something, Stugots, that I saw this weekend that you would have enjoyed so much because we were talking earlier, Mike was, about during one of the breaks he was talking, and you were surprised that the Aussie Open was happening, and then it started yesterday, because sports are really confusing now, and things are in places that you don't expect them, and so you're just not expecting anything to be happening in or around the Super Bowl, that the sports sort of shut down and get out of the way for that. Is this the time of year that they usually do the Aussie Open?
Usually during the winter. They've had to alter it some. Guillermo, put it on the poll. Is Gael Monfils ever going to put it all together?
He didn't win that one major? The French? Didn't he win that once?
Man, he pushes. Sliderman pushes. That's his best tournament.
Right.
Well, this is the thing that I wanted to discuss with you guys, though, because many people today, I'm assuming that the conversation on ESPN is some form of, is Brady the greatest ever, most ever, greatest ever, since 37 years old, greatest ever? How do we define him in the landscape of all of sports? Because he has become the ultimate winner. He has become somebody who gets to laugh today at everybody, anybody who doubted him, anyone who has ever said an unkind word. His own legacy coach is getting questioned by Stugots today because Brady wins again. Brady wins as he always does. Brady wins at life, wins at everything, doesn't appear to be aging, has made clearly a deal with the devil 10 years ago. I reported it exclusively on ESPN that he had made a deal with the devil, and we just gave you 3 Hall of Fame careers that he's had in his life, and he's better than anyone ever at that sport where it's really hard to win, as you've seen with Aaron Rodgers and everyone else, and he just keeps doing it in a way that's flabbergasting. And so the question becomes, greatest winner of our time, as Stugots, this is happening in real time. LeBron James, this is pretty damn fascinating, as LeBron complains about not wanting to do the All-Star game, and I don't ride with him on that one, even though I'm pro-labor. These guys in the NBA are doing a lot of grandstanding now in terms of how much they care about their bodies, and the league doesn't care about their health when they collectively bargained everything that is in those arrangements. And if they have a problem with playing in the All-Star game, which I understand why they would, I understand why anybody would, but you shouldn't have taken the money involved in the collective bargaining that is taken when you're playing that game. So if you're complaining that the league is doing it for money, that is money that you agreed to take as well.
I understand what you're saying, but I will say this. The one person that can say it is LeBron. LeBron has played at this age, after winning as much as he hasn't missed a game. He's giving the fans their money's worth every single night, Dan, and they agreed to that before a pandemic. And I think what LeBron is saying is, hey, you're asking me to play a second season. I haven't missed a game. Can I get a weekend off, please? Like, is that too much to ask, you know?
But what do you mean they collectively bargained it before the pandemic? This is the kind of stuff that was all discussed. This is a partnership on stuff. This isn't them being forced to do much of anything. Stugots, they changed when and how and where the All-Star game was played in terms of rest for LeBron. They work with LeBron as a partner at every turn to tailor everything they're doing around LeBron. And he's earned it, and he's worth it. And he's underpaid by any measure that you choose, even as ridiculous as that is to say, because his sport shouldn't be salary capped. And so he is a great partner. But the league has been a great partner to him as well. And while everyone is grabbing at the money now, that includes the players who are grabbing at the money. You control that as part of partnership. And so what I wanted to say about LeBron, though, as I got sidetracked here, is look at how he's going to age now, Stugots, because the thing that he's figured out, and I don't know if he's figured it out quietly or not, but he's figured it out. He's taken about 7 threes a game, and he's shooting 40% from 3. When Dwayne Wade says this is the best LeBron has ever played, he's going back to that Heat season when he just decided, for that, just fooling around that one season,
right?
He just decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to be a monster at efficiency this season. I'm just not going to miss a bunch of baskets. I'm going to take only smart shots. It was like he was almost trying to fool around in his prime with the system because he'd mastered the game, and he decided, I'm going to shoot like 60%, and I'm only going to take these clean threes. I'm not going to take any garbage threes. But now he's making everything, Stugots. The way his game is going to age,
incredible,
because he's taking 7 threes a game and he's shooting 40%. And I don't know if you guys saw this a couple of weeks ago, but he was being guarded by Dylan Brooks, and they were going back and forth. To speak to your point about how good he cares, how much he cares during the regular season.
A game on a Tuesday night against the Pacers. It's like Game 7 of the NBA Finals to him.
But he faded away on Dylan Brooks, and he made a shot that isn't a good shot, but he made a shot because he's really good at making difficult shots. And then he just did Dylan Brooks too small. He just kind of hit him again and again with, you're too small to guard this. And it's unguardable. It's how he's going to age. He's going to be able to make all those ridiculous shots in his late 30s. So you've got Tom Brady doing that, and you've got LeBron doing it at the same time. And they're going to be the standard, and everyone will say, well, LeBron, it's easier to do it the way LeBron did. But Tom Brady is now in Michael Jordan's class, and this is team sports, because the story I wanted to tell you, as you guys were talking about tennis, is that you would have really enjoyed, in individual sports, Serena Williams belongs somewhere at the top of this conversation, but it's different when it's an individual sport and a team sport. The reason Brady's getting a lot of credit is because we all know how difficult it is for all the pieces to match, so
everything needs to work
so
out,
that Peyton Manning isn't just winning twice in his life. Look, man, nobody's questioning whether Patrick Mahomes is actually going to be great. A lot of the conversation,
he is great,
but a lot of the conversation, it's not. Stugots, they'd be questioning it if 6 minutes had gone different in last year's Super Bowl.
Of course.
You say of course, but that'd be pretty dumb to do it that way. He's indisputably great at what he does, and he's not a choker. And yesterday, while it was the worst game we've ever seen, he's the one that's coming now for the things that Brady has. Like, it wasn't ridiculous for Jones and Hill to be talking before the season started about, what about 5 championships, 6, 7, because we expect to see them there all the time. But listen to this story because I think you'll like it. It's one of those sports things that you like that gives you goosebumps when someone is great and knows they're great and sort of are casual about their greatness. Serena Williams was showing off. It was a tour of her Miami home. I don't think it's her main residence, but it is a palatial place, and her trophy room is larger than many of the apartments that people live in. It's a giant room filled with her trophies.
Right.
And she's wandering around in the trophy room, and it legitimately goes like this. She's there walking through, and she's like, oh, here's another one, Wimbledon trophy. Like, it's very casual, Stugots. Here's another one, Wimbledon trophy. I think this is a Wimbledon trophy. And then it's like she can't figure out whether she's won Roland Garros twice or 3 times. Like, she's thinking about it, and she's like she can't figure it out. And that's her worst tournament, right? And she's saying, have I won it 2 or have I won it 3? But then she comes upon this, and she wasn't saying it with any humor. It was just sort of matter of fact, this is how I feel about this. She's like, oh, there's a second place. How did that get in here? That goes in the trash. Why is that in here?
The Wimbledon plates?
I don't know, whatever it was second place, and she was legit, but she wasn't even saying it with arrogance. She was just sort of like, I haven't been in this room in a while. I don't know what this is for. I finished in second place at something. Why is this in here? That's what we're looking at, though. We're looking at Tom Brady, while he was questioned along the path because you can't spend 20 years in this environment, in this petri dish, without getting all sorts of questions. So he got Deflategate, and he got, hiding his phone from the NFL, and what is he doing? And now we can still wonder, as he ages differently than everyone else, we can still wonder, how is he doing that? Is it science? Because LeBron is also aging differently than anyone with that kind of mileage on his body. And Serena is aging at about their age, though, like she's lasted.
She's showing her age, though, a little bit.
But of course. How could she not be?
I think Tom Brady is actually selling this TB12 thing.
He really is.
Look
he
into
really
it
is. He really is.
with his business partner, because he's doing something that we've never seen in a position. It's hard. You're seeing his contemporaries that were also titans of the sport fall by the wayside.
So he's piqued your curiosity on TB12?
But how can it not?
Got to be something to it, right?
Stugots, your choices are either that he's doing it by living the most organic of balanced lives that is connected to the earth and spirituality throughout the cosmos, or he's just taking HGH and has better science than everyone else. Yeah.
I'd go with the or.
But I mean, those are your 2 choices, are they not?
Back in the game.
Yeah.
So now you're 2
out of 4.
Oh, wow.
2 out of 4.
I didn't want to do that to him, but aren't those your 2 choices? And you led me there. That was a bit of a bait and
Getting
switch.
a little desperate. I didn't even get the one that I was trying to lead you to. A lot of questions being asked about this Dr. Guerrero, right?
Gonna have a statue outside of 2 stadiums.
You tricked me. You tricked me.
Just say what you always say about Dr. Guerrero, please. Just say
No.
Just under the phrase.
No, I'm not going to do it. I wasn't even going to go there today.
Something that's under something.
I wasn't going to go there today because today he deserves all respect and no questions. I believe.
Something that's under something.
I know what you want.
Blank that's under blank.
You led me to that. It's unfair what just happened there. It was like you had a leash and you were leading a dog to something because you want your prop bet to
He's
come
halfway
in.
home,
Well, he's
man.
getting scared, though. He's halfway home, but he got scared. When he got one of them in the first 3 minutes, he got scared, and look at what he did. He just manipulated me.
I mean, what a family. That Tom Brady family. I mean, people call things power couples, right? Mila Kunis, Ashton Kutcher, power couple. Not like that with Brady and Giselle.
Did you guys like that commercial?
The Shaggy thing? I dug that. It's cute.
Was that the best of them? You guys have to have commercial thoughts. Isn't that an obligated Monday after a Super Bowl segment? How did you guys feel? Isn't that one getting the universal praise as the best commercial of the day?
I like the Bud Light lemonade seltzer commercial.
That was pretty good, yeah.
That was being I really like the ones that handled the pandemic but humorously. because you saw some messaging really struggle with, hey, positivity and we're here for you because specifically we're all going through this. I like the idea of life handing you lemons in 2020 and Bud Light making lemonade for it. That was clever.
Who was the guy singing in the Bud Light Legends commercial? Who was the singer that they trotted out looking haggard that I don't remember as a famous singer? Roy, this is your wheelhouse.
That was the Real Men of Genius commercial. I don't know the name of the guy. He doesn't seem to be famous.
Oh, so okay. So I kept
so it's a
thinking
repeat. I must have missed this one. So they went back to some of their older.
Well, they went to all the legends. There was Bud Light Legends, and I was expecting to see Spuds MacKenzie, but I guess that was Budweiser, not Bud Light, right? Or what was Spuds MacKenzie? That was not Bud Light. So they just went. The I Love You Man was in there. What were the others, Roy?
Cedric the Entertainer was in there.
Post Malone.
That's about it.
Which ones did you have, Chris? Did you enjoy? You guys kind of petered out there for me. We kind of petered out there as a team.
I mean, I saw that commercial and I knew Post Malone was in it. I didn't know anybody else. I was not a big fan of the commercials overall.
Spuds MacKenzie was Bud Light. I'm surprised they didn't break that out.
It took a dark turn, that commercial, huh? They killed a knight, right? A knight fell off the edge of a cliff, and then they just kept partying.
Yeah, that led to the I Love You Man joke.
Yes, that was they needed to work in the I Love You Man, so they just knocked off a night. It's exactly what happened. Why wasn't Spuds MacKenzie in there? Any theories about this? Has the internet solved this? What are you laughing about, Mike?
You really want an answer on this?
Well, maybe.
Just rambling.
Where
was Spuds MacKenzie? Where was he?
You think if I Google it, there'll be an explanation?
He needs an answer. He demands it.
Where was Spuds
Let's leave it as the end of this segment as just a mystery. Let's title this segment, Where was Spuds MacKenzie?
He's dead.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugots podcast.
Do you think there's anyone on the team whose Brady doesn't know their name?
No, and I got to tell you, this guy is walking around to every defensive player, and he's telling them last night how happy he is for them. And I believed him. And he is so great. I found myself liking Tom Brady last night.
Honey Badger. Big loss for him yesterday, right?
I like Honey Badger.
Yeah, but he was looking silly yesterday.
Not as much as you like telling someone to shut their mouth.
Oh, it's my favorite.
You do love Honey Badger. Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Batard Show. Who does Stugots love more? Any athlete in the history of the world, or telling an athlete to shut the hell up? Because I think it's one of Stugots' favorite moves.
Some of those goals were, well, I just had a Guadalajara moment. Got choked up. Yeah. Some of those calls were real bad. Not that they had anything to do with the game. I think we know that Tampa was very clearly better on the night.
If it had been a close game, we would be talking about that today. It's not something we're talking about because Kansas City was never in the game. But every single break went Tampa Bay's way.
It did, and there were some questionable calls. But let's also keep in mind that the Bucs beat them that badly, and they were stopped at the 1 yard line 4 times. It could have been very easily, could have been 38.
Oh, but they scored right after that, though.
They got the ball back.
Yeah, they got the ball back, short field, and they scored touchdowns. That's what Tom Brady and Gronk. I heard you saying during the break, you just said bleeping Gronk under your breath. I don't even know what you're talking about there. I need to correct something from last week, incidentally. I said that Travis Kelce was, I got a little bit of, by a couple of months, I was a little bit off in what I said in terms of how much younger or older Gronk is than Kelce. But just so that you know, they're both 31 years old. They're months apart. And that's a bit shocking given that we think that Gronk is covered in WD-40 because all his parts creak. And Kelce, even on a day when Mahomes looks worse than he ever has, the over-under prop bet on Kelce is 100 yards, and he goes well over 100 yards on a day when we're celebrating. Man, Levante David is a beast because he could be somewhere in the vicinity of Kelce. Kelce still has 133 yards on the game, and he was largely neutralized given what we're expecting to see from them at all times.
10 catches, 133 yards for Kelce. My bleeping Gronk during the break was just, it was so predictable. Brady to Gronk in the Super Bowl, not once, but twice. It was just, it's never going to end.
But Stugots, what's so predictable now because we have the result, what do you mean? Tom Brady at home getting points? It's obvious. Patrick Mahomes' offensive line decimated. It's obvious. How could we not see it? No, man. Like he was An underdog. The greatest winner of our time was playing at home in a Super Bowl, and he was an underdog, and I was surprised that the line was that small just because I've seen that Kansas. I'd never bet against that Kansas City offense. I'd be terrified. I think it's one of the scariest bets you can make in sports, betting against the Kansas City offense.
At 31-9, headed into the fourth because no one scored in the fourth. You didn't think the game was over, did you? At 31-9.
I feared that at any moment they would do what they did to Houston last year in the playoffs, where it would just start, and it's against my better judgment, right? Because I'd just seen 3 quarters, but I had trusted the last couple of seasons in terms of sample more than the 3 quarters I had just seen. I just think it's one of the scariest thing in sports, the Patrick Mahomes offense. We've never seen it, man. I wonder what the bet would have been for you to bet in that game, Kansas City will not score a touchdown in this game. And who would have felt comfortable taking that bet, no matter what the odds are? Kansas City will not score a touchdown.
It's incredible. And I was just hoping against hope that someone would do that to that offense just so I would know it was possible. Because I haven't seen it outside of a half in an AFC championship game. I hadn't seen someone neutralize that defense, and I'm just begging as a fan of another team in that conference, someone, please show me a playbook here as to how to do it. And Todd Bowles was doing really creative things. He actually didn't blitz all that much, but he was overloading coverage.
Less than he usually does.
Yeah. There was one time that he sent 2 corners on a blitz and an obvious passing down. There was some really creative stuff that was being done there. Now, you need to have the horses. Devin White and Levante David at linebacker, which is a lot of analytics teams don't really value the linebacker position. I think right now you're seeing the value in it because Levante David's going to be in Canton. He's a Hall of Famer, and Devin White looks like he might be one too.
How about that, though? He's a Hall of Famer, and we all were like, man, what a beast that dude is. And Kelsey, again, 10 catches for 133 yards. I was actually talking to Mike about it before the game, Stugots. The idea that we've arrived in the place with these tight ends in terms of athleticism where their physical size, because even though Levante David is big, he's not nearly as big as Travis Kelce, that you get into one of these situations where Kelsey's running around in your secondary, and disproportionately, it's sort of like Shaquille O'Neal playing basketball against people much smaller than him. And so the goal when you're on offense is not to get Travis Kelce to score. It's simply to get him in a position where he is posting up somebody. So it's not what you're trying to do. What you're trying to do on defense is not keeping Shaq from scoring. You're trying to keep Shaq from getting the ball in the post because Travis Kelce at any point can choose on any route. I'm going to go right or left depending on what looks a little cleaner here, and Patrick Mahomes is going to be accurate enough that he's just going to know, because of my size, that somebody can't get around my body without interfering. And
that was a killer at the goal line at the end. I had Kelce to score as a prop. I realized that was a really bad Super Bowl, but because of all the individual props in that game, I was so into it. I had so much money. Anytime someone stepped on a blade of grass, hundreds of dollars were being exchanged.
That's the way to do it. What was the big one that you won? What was your big...
So the big one that I won, I was just picking Mina's brain, and you know what? Mina was wrong about this game. It happens. And she told me that the Bucs are bad against mobile quarterbacks. So I went over on Mahomes' rushing total big, and he had that in the first quarter. So I was very clearly feeling good about all the other ones, but... when Gronk catches that touchdown, and I just need Sammy Watkins or Travis Kelce to do it, and I'm a made man. Just cash one of these 18-1s for the love of God.
Wait a minute, Watkins?
Yeah.
Watkins did another one of those things that Watkins does where
disappearing
you
act.
Simply a first-round pick, an amazing collegiate talent. You're like, where'd he go?
Yeah, Mina said that maybe this might finally be a Watkins game, so I was in on the overs on Watkins. And Pringle, too. I got really excited when Pringle caught a pass immediately.
You did okay betting even though you had Kansas City doing well offensively?
No. I got dragged. I got dragged pretty hard. I won the Mahomes bet, and I think the big win was that I just didn't blindly throw money at Kansas City when they were trailing. The big win for me was that I didn't lose thousands of dollars last night.
Like in-game.
Yeah.
Just keep thinking they're going to come back. Right?
Every time I'm like, I put in like a unit and a half in-game in the third quarter over 17.5 points. And even then I was just like, I just got the feels from this game.
Did you take heads?
No.
I did.
No. Tails failed.
That's excellent restraint, Mike. I would think that the most tempting thing in sports practically is to bet Kansas City when they're trailing.
Dan, nothing will tighten up your wallet quite like losing $6,000 on AMC.
Except when you're betting against Brady. I mean,
that's the thing. That's the thing.
Stugots here. In every relationship, there's a short list of forgivable offenses, but missing the most romantic day of the year isn't one of them. Valentine's is here, so don't wait. Head to 1-800-Flowers.com today. Right now, 1-800-Flowers has a last-minute offer for my listeners. Get 24 multicolored roses for just $34.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for just $10 more. It's an unbelievable offer from 1-800-Flowers. 24 multicolored roses for $34.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for just $10 more. Whether it's a full spectrum of multicolored roses or timeless red roses, you can't go wrong with a bouquet from 1-800-Flowers. All roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak, cared for every step of the way, and shipped fresh to ensure lasting beauty. Order now and get 24 multicolored roses for just $34.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for just $10 more. Bouquets are selling fast, so you have to take care of this today with 1-800-Flowers.com. So order 24 multicolored roses for $34.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for just $10 more. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code DANPOD. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code DANPOD. You need to hurry. The offer expires Wednesday. Stugots here. Have you ever wanted to give yourself better odds on winning a bet? Well, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you a chance to do just that. All players who place a bet on Sunday night's basketball game between L.A. and Denver will have a hand in lowering the over-under on the game. That's right. For every 1,000 players who bet the over on Sunday night's game, the over-under will drop by 1 point. How about that? Every bettor who hammers the over in Sunday's Denver versus Los Angeles game helps to lower the game's over-under. The best part is that even as the line lowers, the odds remain at even money. That's right. You could double your money by hammering the over. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DAN when you sign up to hammer the over on Sunday night's basketball game when L.A. takes on Denver. Who doesn't love to hammer the over? For every 1,000 people that bet the over in Sunday's game, the line will decrease by 1 point. Yes, this is your chance to improve the odds of the over hitting, so tell your friends and family this is a team effort. Hammer the over and improve your odds of doubling your money. That's promo code DAN for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, Michigan, or Virginia only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in Indiana, 1-800-9-WITH-IT, or in Virginia, call 888-532-3500.
Billy, you were asking a lot of questions. I want to get to some other stuff that's away from this sports stuff. We got to get into that Canseco boxing match that he made $1 million for, ripping off a bunch of Barstool people who paid, I don't know how much. Chris, did you pay for that fight? Did you pay to watch on pay-per-view? Jose Canseco lasted 5 seconds. Chris, you paid to watch that?
I like a spectacle, Dan. Yes, I paid for it. It was $20. It was easy to order. I enjoyed it. I mean, I got my money's worth, even though it lasted 10 seconds.
Not even 10 seconds. I think he quit before that. He went down with a shoulder injury. There wasn't a physical involved, and he got a percentage of the cut. And so you find yourself in a position where, on top of making a bunch of money, because Barstool's president Dave Portnoy was mad at him because he was saying, like, he bilked us. He just took a dive. He came in, didn't have to take a physical, and he was tied to the pay-per-view. So he got $1 million for 5 seconds. Jose Canseco. The last time he had boxed or didn't box, he sent his twin brother in to box for him, and people uncovered the scandal. Nothing surprising that a career fraud like Jose Canseco would just lay on the ground holding his shoulder.
Well, exactly. What did you think was going to happen with Jose Canseco? Like, that's what happens with him when things like it's not a coincidence that we never went into the desert to chase Bigfoot with Jose Canseco. Like, the more questions that were asked, the more they said, you know what? Let's maybe not do this one. The amount, like, I don't know if it can be said, but I heard what a proposed budget for that was, and I was like, this is crazy. Like, if this happens, I better not mess this up because like this is legit money. And of course it didn't happen because they started asking questions and then it didn't amount to anything.
It's such a good point. I mean, when you get into business with Canseco, in general, Dan, you're going to lose. It's a losing proposition getting into business with Jose Canseco. What did you expect? You're Barstool, and you signed Jose Canseco. What did you think he was going to do?
Billy, can you utter that sentence again without any context whatsoever, where you just say it's not a coincidence that blank?
It's not a coincidence that we didn't go into the desert to search for Bigfoot with Jose Canseco.
So is it possible? Do you guys think that Canseco bet on his opponent plus 400, Billy the intern? Do you believe that?
Took a dive.
And then took a dive after that. He's from Vegas. I wouldn't put it past him.
Which one of us is going to box somebody now? Because it's got to be one of us in the shipping container. Billy the intern got Jose Canseco. We can do better than that. Who are we going to get? Roy, who you boxing?
Were you guys jealous that they got the big spectacle around Canseco because we couldn't afford it, evidently? We've been trying. Oh, while we're at it, we should have had the Aaron Rodgers show every Tuesday a couple of years ago, but we're not going to talk about that. What happened? What happened with the Canseco? We should have been doing something like that with Canseco. We were there first with Canseco. Did the money get too large? Is that what happened?
No, I'm telling you, it was crazy money that was proposed, and supposedly there was other bidders that I don't believe, and I think what happened was when they saw it, this is a legit thing that they're coming at us with. We're going to have to produce Bigfoot somehow if we're going to... Because, look, I guess it doesn't matter at this point, right? What difference does it make? They were going to do an ESPN Plus mini-series on this, and it was going to be a whole thing, and there was, like, a legit budget for it that was... Should I say the number? Does it matter?
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. I don't know this story, so I want as many details as you could possibly give us.
When the discussions were going on with Jose Canseco, it was conversations going back and forth, and it was a bidding process that they claimed was going on. And somehow, money was found for a budget. The plan was to make this an ESPN Plus digital thing that would probably go on more than one episode. But some of the snags were... They had 5 seats in the thing, but they wouldn't commit to more than 1 seat. And security was kind of like, well, no, we're not just putting an ESPN employee or a Disney employee in that RV without having some sort of, security. Like, can we follow the van from behind or the RV? And they're like, no, it's a secret location. We're like, well, we're not just going to go and put someone out there and we can't follow where they're going. We need to keep track of our employees and where it is that they're going. They can't just go into the desert with you.
That could have been Billy.
And that was the plan. I had a conversation with my wife where I said, listen, there's a slight chance that in the next 3 to 4 weeks, I may have to fly to Las Vegas and go into the desert in an RV with Jose Canseco. They're not telling us where it is. Like, security's looking into this, but they're kind of going back and forth. They said that there can't be a camera on with me and they can't follow too closely. So there's a chance that I die. But if I do die, it will be quite the story to tell this is how I died.
There would also be the chance that someone far away, Ozzy Canseco, would run by in a big giant bear costume in the distance.
Yes.
And
well, absolutely. And look, for the amount of money that I heard the budget was, that I guess would have included like editing and equipment and all of that stuff, they could have bought a really nice bear costume to trick us into thinking.
Billy, I just realized that Chris Cody went in there and spent $20 that Jose Canseco. Chris Cody is responsible for Jose Canseco making $1 million for defrauding Barstool and the internet and just paying basically what he's been doing for decades, which is I will exchange my dignity for $1 million. And what I just realized in you telling that story is we had the opportunity to be ripped off by Jose first. I just realized that we could have had all of that pay-per-view stuff. We could have had everything that Barstool had around the Jose Canseco circus, that you were there first, and then everything just fell apart in negotiations because you realized that you might get abducted and it would cost Disney $500,000.
Oh, no, it was on their end that it fell apart. It's my understanding. There were multiple conference calls that were supposed to be with his representatives that, surprise, Jose was there in the background talking in the shadows. There were multiple conference
Billy,
calls
why
planning
am
this
I
thing
just
out.
hearing this story for the first time? Like, please give me, I want to do an oral history podcast investigative series of where the Canseco deal fell apart. Give me all of the details. Let's do a South Beach sessions where I just ask you questions about all of the details where they fell apart, because I want all of them.
Well, this is also what led to, okay, so Jose puts out the story and says, contact my manager, Morgan, if you want to reach out to me. And a ton of people reached out, and Morgan started getting back to people. We later found out that Morgan was Jose Canseco's girlfriend, who I don't know whether or not there was PR experience there, but it seemed like they were an item and they were in a relationship. Now, they've since had a falling out, but one thing that we did
as tends to happen with Canseco,
his whole life is a falling
very
out.
publicly. But he tends to break up enormously heartbroken on Twitter with women.
Yeah, poor guy. I feel bad for him. Now, one thing that we almost got out of this failed Bigfoot expedition was we had contact to Jose Canseco. We had Morgan's contact info, and that's who I reached out to when we were trying to get Jose Canseco on the show earlier last year when he was supporting you. Something that you said about baseball, and Jose Canseco was like, I agree with Dan Le Batard. We're like, we need to get Jose Canseco. So we reached out to Morgan. We still had that contact and agreed to have this interview. And then, of course, bailed like half an hour before the interview was supposed to happen. And now, since then, Jose and Morgan have had a falling out. They've broken up. So we've lost direct contact with Jose Canseco again. So we can hope that they get together. But, yeah, from what I hear, there were conference calls. I wasn't part of those. Those were above my head. This is the people that are like signing checks and making the decisions and figuring out like the logistics of how it is that this happened, because it seemed like they were negotiating two things. They were negotiating 5 seats on this RV, and then they were also trying to negotiate simultaneously a TV deal out of this, like to broadcast this thing. And that's where we were in play and apparently made a legitimate offer that was enticing to them. Not anywhere near the Barstool number, but significant.
Oh, no, but I wish I had known that. We might have never left ESPN. I wish I'd known that they were willing to follow us down the path of actually spending money on one of our stupid absurdities.
It was crazy. I thought as soon as the suggestion was made, I thought this was one of those things that I like put out there into the universe, and it's like, that's not going to happen. I was shocked at how high this went and how they're like, yeah, we'll do this. We'll put this on ESPN Plus. The app is launching. We'll put it on there. We need some content. We'll have a little mini series where you're going around the desert with Jose Canseco. It was so serious, and the number that I heard was high enough that I was like, yeah, what's going to happen is they're going to do this, and then like Sarah Spain's going to be the person, because they're not going to trust me to do this because this is a legitimate thing.
Billy,
it was 6 figures.
Billy, I don't understand. I can't believe any of that. I don't understand how. Can you explain to me, as someone who is telling his wife I might be abducted and is afraid of everything, how in God's name were you, of all things, a pole vaulter in high school? That seems super scary. That seems like something that people who are afraid would not do as a sport.
Yeah, that's one of those things that you do before. It's kind of like a little kid. You go to the fair and you're like, wow, this is really fun. I can't wait to go on this roller coaster. And then as you're getting older, you're like, this doesn't seem like the safest of things. Maybe let me not go on the Gravitron that has, a garbage bag over a missing panel. Let me avoid doing that this time around. It's one of those situations.
Do you remember your first vault, though? Like I'm with Dan.
I remember, I was bad at first, and I remember going and having to go to the emergency room because I decided that who at the time was like 5'3", 90 pounds, I was using the pole that was for people under 100 pounds that was electric pink. So I was running with that pole, and I didn't get over the bar exactly. But I decided that I needed to have track spikes because that would somehow help me get faster and get over the pole that was like at maybe like 8 feet or something at the time. Not even. It was probably like 7 feet. I don't know what it was. And I spiked myself in the leg, cut myself deep. They had to stop the meet. And this is the portion. Look, for those of you who don't know, which is probably everyone,
Pole vaulting, especially in high school, is one of the longest events. It'll go on for like 4 hours because you have everybody going and everybody gets 3 tries at every height if they don't do it. So they have to put the thing up, put it down, and keep things moving. So then you have like the legitimate ones who are competing like at the end of the 4 hours because they come in at like the ending heights, just waiting around for people like 9th grade me who was running around with track spikes and Under Armour trying to get over like the opening 7-foot height with a pole that I shouldn't even have been using, spiking myself in the leg, laying down in the runway, and having people come to give me medical attention before I had to leave to go get stitches in my leg because I decided that I needed track spikes to not get over the starting height.
So glad I am.
I have some follow-up questions. A lot of them.
I'm here.
A lot of them. Electric pink.
Yeah. It was probably a pole meant for girls, to be honest with you. Not that pink can't be for guys, but just judging on where I saw the poles most used, I was one of the few guys using that pink pole. It was also, I think, a training pole. Yeah.
How specifically, just so that we can conjure the entirety of this image, okay? So you are 5'3", 90 pounds. You are stopping the whole meet, an already long meet, because you have hobbled off into a corner on the track. You're laying down bleeding.
I wish I could hobble.
You required how many stitches, and paint a visual picture of where you're laying, how much you're bleeding, and I've got one final question after that.
It was deep enough. The blood didn't come immediately. It was a deep gash that the medic came over to see, and they said, you're going to have to go get stitches, where you could see the meat in your leg. You know when that happens, where you gash yourself and you could just see the meat, and it's kind of like you see like the little like slimy things inside. It was really gross. The number, I want to say somewhere, it wasn't a ton. I want to say in the 1 to 5 range. It could have been one of those things. I don't remember exactly because, again, I was so out of it because of this traumatic experience. I feel like when I went there, it may have been one of those where the doctor says, like, you don't even really need stitches, but I have a scar. So I want to say 1 to 5 stitches on this leg. So but I definitely saw my meat. No, that's not. In my leg. Calf.